We are on Sokolovská, one of the busiest streets in the east of Prague. This is the heartbone of Karlín all the way here to Palmovka. In this building was sold a flat. Last year, 2KK third floor with no elevator after renovation for around 7.2 million Czech crowns. Today we're exploring this beautiful neighborhood of Palmovka. Let's go! Just about 100 meters from the apartment is entry to this beautiful, well, into the park, where if you happen to have a dog, that's very useful. It's not for beautiful sightseeing of Prague, obviously, but there is a little workout area. We're on a little hill overseeing the entry to Palmovka, to something what I think is almost like Rigorovy study. I mean, the views are pretty similar now. Behind me is this iconic corner or part of Palmovka. And here we can see everything which is happening. There is a lot of traffic, obviously, on the Sokolovská street, old buildings becoming renovated, and very importantly, the Nová Palmovka. A little bit of failure, which has been stuck in the current state as you see it for the last 10 years. But hopefully, one day, the disputes will be resolved. Recently, there has been some update. I mean, in June 2026, finally some resolvement in the disputes, but still it will take some time before we know whether the EUSPA, the European agency, is moving here or not. So far it looks still not sure. If you're wondering how noisy it can be here, imagine 9.5 out of 10. Sokolovská is one of the busiest streets in Prague 8. Trams, buses, cars, delivery trucks all day. Within few minutes, we saw here every single type of a vehicle. And the listings says the flat has a new plastic windows, which is nice, and they make it quiet as long as the windows are closed. But starting from this weather, with a flat with no air conditioning, that's going to be tricky. You have to make a choice, either quiet or breathable. Speaking of windows on Palmovka, I lived few streets this direction. At the corner where directly underneath us were trams. And I can tell you that if you open the windows, then you can definitely hear a lot, especially your guests, because you will develop selective hearing. You will not hear this after some time, but your guests, they'll be like, how can you live here? Easily. Humans get used to everything. Talking about transport, within 3 minutes you are at the Palmovka metro station, where Metro B will take you in 3 stops to the city center. You have, of course, buses, many of tram lines, and generally very well connected piece of Prague. But transport is the baseline. What is actually changing the math, and why I think and really believe in Palmovka region, is not what's happening now, but what will be happening, or as we were promised a decade ago. Parking in Palmovka is not easy, but it can get worse. I mean, in this area, usually you will find a parking after some time, and my tip would be to look for the area in the upper part. On Sokolovská and above, there are the one-way streets. That's usually where I found parking if I need it, which was 10 years ago when I had a car here and lived on the corner. Here on Novákových Street is a very famous Indian and Bengali restaurant. 4.7 on Google I can definitely recommend, and I had my first vindaloo here. If you want to experience the typical Czech cuisine, then head out to the restaurant U Jagušky. It has been here for ages. I lived here, so I went here quite often. So what do you actually get for 7.2 million Czech crowns? A 2-bedroom flat on the 4th floor of a 5-story brick building right on Sokolovská Street. The living room and the kitchen are in one open space, which works just fine. The bedroom is a decent size, and you'll fit a double bed and a wardrobe without feeling like in a prison cell. Bathroom is tiny though. Shower only, no bathtub, and there is a separate toilet, which is always nice, and a big storage. I think 9 square meters, which makes sense because you have to pack all your stuff somewhere. The flat was renovated in 2010, touched up again in 2014, and a recently gas boiler in 2020. There are also new windows and nice parquet floors, which many people appreciate. One more thing worth mentioning, the building itself, it's older, obviously, but the renovation covered the most important stuff like windows, boiler, floors. Energy efficiency on this building is not going to be any great, but hey, you don't need to spend months or hundreds of thousands on renovating the place. Maybe you do some small upgrades, but this flat is pretty much ready to move in. That brings us to the math. If we take a 7.2 million and divide it by 54 square meters, we get roughly 132,000 per square meter. The deal has been done a year ago, so even if we increase the price by roughly 8%, which is what this area did, it still was a very good purchase. Would I buy it? Yes, definitely. It's not for a family, but it's your good starter's home, and eventually I really believe the uphold of the area. Now, if you want to rent it out these days, I would expect around 20,000 plus minus, which is a gross ROI of 3.3%. Not great, not terrible. With net, you're definitely under 3, but hey, this is Prague. It's not your rental get-rich ROI market. You're buying here for appreciation. And because Palmovka will be cool one day. This thing got my attention. I thought it's for working out, but for those of you who use outside places to work out, how do you work out on this? I mean, okay, you can climb on this one, but I couldn't wrap my head around this and that thing. I guess it's some planning issue. Maybe it looks nice. Who knows? And with the safety behind these bars, I think we can enjoy a typical sightseeing of Palmovka, where in this view, you have everything Palmovka has to offer. And a bit of hope. I'm at the iconic bus station of Palmovka. If you know this area and you've been here, I was wondering how we can politically correct describe this place. I would say diversity of people, possibly, but anyway, you know what I mean. This place is quite a mess. The plan is to tear down the whole thing and build Palmovka 1. If you've never heard about it, Google it. The good thing is the Prague knows, or the municipality is aware that this is going to be redone completely, because this has been the same since the 70s or 80s maybe. Anyway, here is supposed to be a development project which is now still being argued with the original developer for decades. Literally decades, they're arguing with the city whether they can develop and for how much they will actually buy the lands around here. So is it going to be that developer who's been in the discussion for decades, or is it going to be someone new? We don't know at this point. However, the city knows this area is about to change. Palmovka is a very live and diverse part of Prague. If you don't like city life, this place is not for you. But this place is also full of different buildings, such as this Libeňský zámeček or chateau. It feels like it doesn't really belong here, but obviously they're not going to destroy it. There used to be a municipality office inside, the one which they planned to move to the Nova Palmovka, which wasn't finished. So it's still there. If you're an expat thinking about buying property in Prague, well, this is what we do. We help foreigners to understand the local market, what the neighborhoods are like, and if you need financing or a real estate agent, don't hesitate to get in touch. My name is Robin, founder of Expats Finance, and see you in the next video.